Come on, just be truthful. Let us be truthful today. If never again in our life, let us be that today.
So first I want to say peace and love. I'm here with the brother Blue Pill. Before we even get started, I want to sincerely say, thank you for coming on Mantis Views 29. I'm, in my humble opinion, I'm here with a media legend. A legend in your own right, sui juris. Whereas you have a real interesting story, you and Red. I would say you got a background dealing with a lot of things that y'all don't brag about, so a lot of people don't know about. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, you need a hand with that, bro? Okay, do your thing. So, yeah, so it's a lot that can be explained and substantiated, but in my humble opinion, that's what it is. Now, I did an interview with Red, entitled it "Take This Pill," right, with Red and the brother Malik, who, going back in time, he was mentioning the situation where it took 8 highwaymen to take you down. On the 1-2 beefs.
Yeah,
125.
years out here, man. Yeah.
06, 07.
If you look at when it took 8 cops to take down the Blue Pill, that was me who got arrested.
And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about, or have you explain to the people, because, and it's funny because we're here the day after the election. So by default, I know this is going to come up, but it's all interrelated in some odd way, because we're talking about a democracy who plays the game as if there's two parties, when really they all Democrats, really.
Democracy. And those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy.
Because the only lawful form of government is the Republican form, according to the Constitution that they all got to take an oath to. That's a fact. So those elements play out in different things that affect our lives, lives of Moors, those Aboriginal indigenous people of North America. And I got to premise it like this because when we, preface, exactly. When we talk about some of the things that happened with Obama's presidency, they say it hasn't been that many bodies of our people who dropped under administration of a president since Reagan or Nixon. That's what the statistics are saying. Okay, now all the bodies that dropped, all of these things still correlating with the interview that I did with Red and the brother Malik W. To see, from our brothers getting shot down, from our sisters getting shot down, some of them we don't even know what happened to them. They just turned up dead in their cell. Now we could put it all together, you know what I mean? But that being the case, a lot of people, may not be able to relate to being attacked, you know what I mean, by these people who are supposed to be serving and protecting, right? So I want to kind of go into the aspect of there's something about the unseen, you know what I mean, of that affects why we're still here. And I say that because I've been choked out by the police. That's not a joke, you know what I'm saying? When you don't have air, that's an element you can't see, but you need to survive. Would you mind speaking to the tune of the essence of, we seen Eric Gardner get choked out and died. That's not a light situation when somebody is being choked out. And I mean, I gotta say, I know you feel good to be here, but how did it feel with you going through that situation and it taking 8 highwaymen to even deal with you? What was that experience like?
First and foremost, peace to you and yours, peace to the family out there that's, viewing this particular, this video diary, we're archiving something that digitally will be here forever.
Absolutely.
It's important that the family take notice to this. Very rarely do we get any victory stories when it comes to our people being dealt with by the policy enforcers. You know what I'm saying? We only hear about the tragedies.
Right.
So as a child, I grew up knowing about Anthony Baez.
In my case, my son was only playing football in front of his house, and I'm the only house in the block. So where can he go and play? We don't even got parks there. So where can he play? And that particular night, December 22nd, he was playing with his 3 other brothers, 4 boys, 4 brothers, playing tag football. So his crime was playing football.
He was choked out by the police. So I was familiar with the chokehold being deemed quote-unquote illegal. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with Do the Right Thing, where Spike Lee paid homage to Anthony Baez and reenacted the scene with Radio Raheem where he got choked out. And that shit was horrific. It was horrifying to me because Radio Raheem was a favorite character of mine, and it was violent. You know what I'm saying? Even in the movie, you know, I remember getting like, you know, I was bothered by what I saw because you could feel them taking his life. You know what I'm saying? You could feel it, and that was the impetus of that entire movie. They burnt the hood down, and you know, you was involved in all of that. So to find yourself in that situation in real time is a horrifying experience. But I can explain my personal experience as one in which time kind of slowed down, you know, and everything kind of was like moving like this. You feel me? It was just very, very slow. And you know, once one officer got me in a headlock and I noticed what he was trying to do, I went into defense mode because I knew that he was attempting to lift my chin underneath his arm so he could choke me out. So he could put me in a chokehold. And he was assisted by, you know, a phalanx of officers that was looking to assist him. But they literally felt like they was 5-year-olds pulling on me. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have no strength whatsoever. And I just formed a bond. I just locked myself in, locked my neck down, and I locked my arms because they was trying to also pull my arms out to put me in cuffs. And I wouldn't allow them to do that. You know, and these things, even though, like I said, even though it was moving like this, everything happens like that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I can only say that my ancestors were with me during this particular situation. I didn't want to die. You know, my will to live was stronger than their determination to kill me. You know, but they did want to kill me that particular day. And then the embarrassment factor started setting in because there was so many of them. And these was burly white boys. And the majority of them, the jump out, what we call jump out boys, they're detectives. They're in plain clothes and they run around, you know what I'm saying, looking for people with guns. So they already are in this particular mindset or this attitude, like they're Roman soldiers. They jumping out and they running down on people, you know what I mean? And they're looking for guns. So theoretically, they're putting themselves in a line of fire, quote unquote. So these would be the most adrenaline pumped, steroid pumped boys that's on the force. So they were embarrassed because there was so many of them and they couldn't do nothing with me. So I was starting to embarrass them. And I noticed that, you know, they started attacking my legs, right? So then we all fell together. I fell on top of them, and I kind of like threw my elbow. One of them got hit. And then what I noticed when we was on the floor, and then they were piling on top of me, I started seeing them reach. You feel me? And then I started hearing the voices of women around me screaming. So my mindset is like, look, the dudes on the sideline ain't doing nothing. You feel me? But the women, they might pop off. And it was gonna get ugly out there because, you know what I mean? The women don't got no cut card. When they're bothered by something and they choose to pop, they're gonna pop.
You know, I said, if I don't get justice, all these buildings are going out.
And I don't know what the response would have been. So at that particular point, I deemed it, you know, I was like, I think I proved my point, you know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
I don't want to get into a situation where somebody's screaming gun,
Right.
you know, he got a gun, and then
Yeah.
they justify shooting me in a sea of officers. Nobody can see nothing
Right. Right.
because you know whoever was filming, they weren't filming that part.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'll leave it at that. But
Indeed.
yeah, you know that was that particular situation. You know, these officers, quote unquote, were definitely imploring unnecessary use of force. And this is, like I said, when you come across them, this is normally the attitude, especially for the ones that are part of these special units.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'll explain to you what happened. What I had noticed, I was on this side of the street.
Yes.
The incident was taking place across the street, but the cop car was here. So the brother Malik was in front of the car here, right? This would be the car. He was standing with his back turned to the car door, right, with his hand in cuffs. So the detective, was gonna crawl in the car this way and pull him in.
Yeah, I saw
Right.
that.
And of course, you know, he would have scraped, you know what I mean? He'd have hit the brother's head on the door. They'd have just did him dirty and they didn't care because that's what they routinely do out there.
That's what
especially the vendors.
Yes.
They do them greasy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they had a whole unit that was led by a policy enforcer named Pena. And when he came through there, he used to bust heads and everybody was scared of him. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And I
right.
repeatedly run into these situations where these tough, bad, quote-unquote cops that everybody's scared of, they just let them do whatever.
Right.
And then we run into them, you know what I'm saying? And they run into a brick wall and then things change.
Indeed.
So that's what the detective was gonna do. So I stepped to him. Like, yo, you're not gonna do that.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? In front of us and just think that we just gonna stand here and watch you violate our brother like that. You already got him in cuffs. If you want to take him in custody, you don't have to violate him. You don't have to harm or injure him just because he's mouthing off.
Right, right.
And then as a result, the direct response to me saying whatever I said to him was a headlock.
Yeah.
And a chokehold. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. So now,
this is, you know.
yeah, my fault. I just want to point this out too because we had some of the same lessons. And this is divine and national. Basically, what you was just saying, like, because I want to ask you, like, you know, looking back at the body count, how they washed us up in HD on Obama's second term. Do you ever just say, yo, you know what I mean? Do you ever pay respect to a higher force? Like, yo, I'm here for a reason. Do it make you see it like that? Like, yo, that could have been, I could have been Eric Gardner for real. Not just on some random.
The thing is, like, when I started going to battle with them,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And the quote unquote courtrooms,
yeah,
initially 2000, 2001,
right.
I was fortifying myself in different areas when I was stepping into the arena to do war. You know what I mean? We don't hold nothing back.
Right,
At least I wasn't.
absolutely.
So, you know, if I'm acknowledging that their paperwork is spell casting and craft work,
Yes,
shit, I was doing craft work.
exactly, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotta know the language.
I was mindful when I was going to war, when I was going to battle, I was taking all of my tools with me and I was throwing everything at them.
Word.
So the residual aspect of that, of walking with the ancestors and doing the work, still was with me, and it kicked in when it needed to. So I
Absolutely.
always pay homage. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Absolutely.
always mindful.
Got you.
And
got
I had another incident in May where I was, again, as press, I was covering a Freddie Gray event
you. Yeah.
protest in Union Square,
Okay.
and they had enacted a whatever sort of ordinance. They was testing it out the very first time. And this ordinance that they was enacting this particular day, they were telling quote unquote protesters that they couldn't occupy the streets.
Okay.
They had to walk in the streets. They couldn't walk on the streets.
Right.
And they were doing
right.
it from a loudspeaker on a flatbed truck.
Hold on. You mean they couldn't walk on the sidewalk?
On the sidewalk. They were telling them they had to walk
Okay.
on the street. So
Got it.
once again, you know, us knowing about, you know what I'm saying, how they just come up with these statutes or what have you, these acts, you know, it was some bullshit. You know what I mean?
It's not
But
constitutional.
nonetheless, yeah, I was covering an event under the auspices of a reporter. I was in the street. I wasn't on the sidewalk, and they just decided to just stormtroop the entire crowd with the zip cuffs and everything, and just take everybody down. You know what I mean? And I was again one of the first people, and they sent about 8 or 9 of them to jump on me, and I had my rings on. And they were screaming, "He's got a knife, he's got a knife." Same, damn near the same incident. I'm on the floor with them. They piled on top of me, talking about, "He got a knife, he got a," and they can't put my hands in cuffs. They can't move me or nothing.
Right.
And they start with that, "He got a knife" stuff, and I'm like,
Right. Chill it out,
chill it out. Like, let's, you know what I mean?
Body you. You could beat it in.
Sometimes you have to know when to fold them.
Right.
You're going to get an opportunity to fight your fight under the ways in which you choose to fight, rather than always on the defense.
Yes.
So in both of these situations, when I went to what we call quote unquote court, you know what I'm saying? I knocked it out the box.
That's what I'm talking
You feel
about,
me?
brother. Yeah, congratulations.
So
That's what's really good.
yeah.
Now my thing is, let me ask you this too, and I wouldn't ask you this, you know, but Pill, your brother is on record. Just for the record, we with Blue Pill, because some people, I did a video with Red, and they be like, "Yo, Blue Pill went in. This is Blue Pill." All right.
I know
But
it gets confusing.
yeah, but Red Pill has mentioned, you know, in certain footage that y'all have more in your last name.
Yeah, more land.
More land, right? And it's so much in the name. Did that make it more easier for you when you found out about the history of Moors?
Yeah.
Did it like, was it like, because it's a lot of people who, like, you know, you tell somebody who with the name Freddie Johnson, they gotta do this whole wire work.
I'm gonna tell you why. It resonated with me a little bit more, pun intended, because we had a long history in our youth of being in the criminal justice system based on our criminality. You know what I'm saying? So when my brother was 16, about to get sentenced for robbery, the sentencing magistrate, right, named Goldstein, he requested, he's like, "Before I sentence you, you got to bring your mother and your father here." And my brother complied, you know what I'm saying? And my parents came, and this magistrate proceeded to give him a 30-minute lesson about his appellation.
Are you serious?
About his quote-unquote last name. Do you know who you are? Do you know what your last name is? Do you know who your people are? And he was speaking, you know what I mean, to my brother, but he was appealing to my parents like, yo, to step back and to understand what had took place. And there's been numerous situations. I have been in Plymouth, Massachusetts, with the Whigamores. They have their magistrates still got the wigs on, looking like pilgrims for real.
Real talk.
Okay? And I've been in situations where I have my Codys with me, you know what I mean? And they'll see the names and they be like, "Yo, y'all go and y'all stay." Right? So it's a title of nobility.
It is a title of nobility.
It's recognized by these people that are in these particular societies, whether they're Masons or Shriners.
Absolutely.
You feel me? They've taken an oath to oppose something.
According to precedent, the chair will swear in members-elect en masse. The members-elect will rise, and the chair will now administer the oath of office. If all members could raise their right hands. Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic? That you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same? That you take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of your office on which you are about to enter, so help you God. Congratulations.
that's a whole nother conversation that our people just seemingly don't want to have.
Word.
You feel me?
Yeah.
About presenting yourself and you're a proper person and you're ready to take the people, you're ready to take the tools and the secrets from those that are stewards of the tools and the secrets while you sleeping.
Absolutely.
So these people are sitting up there like, yo, we know who you are, who you very well may be, based on A, B, and C, and they're they were trying their best at that particular point in my life to reach us.
Right.
Like,
right,
yo,
right.
there's something more to you than, than what you here doing with this nigga shit.
Right, exactly.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So when I got this information, of course, it all registered that I'm like, hold on, this makes sense. And I just started putting one and two together. And I started studying this history, and I started studying that history. I started reading a little bit of books about this on the craft, and a little bit of books about that. And it all made sense. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, more so based on my experience, when I come into contact with somebody that's higher ranking in the craft, you know what I'm saying? And they start putting them little gems out, you feel me? And then it piques your interest and you start doing your research, and you're like, wow. And then you find out that etymologically in some places they identify Moor to mean land. And my name is Moorland.
Right,
you feel me?
Yeah.
And I have already had my, again, earlier experiences outside of even what we've experienced with the quote-unquote court system. I've had family, I've visited family in Connecticut, I've visited family in the eastern part of Long Island, and these were indigenous Moors to this land, right? Who have always been here, okay? Some of my family Shinnecock, okay? And then I got other family that's part of other quote-unquote tribes.
Absolutely.
But these people were like what you would call blue-black.
Right.
With straight hair though. Jet black. You feel me?
Right. What they
all the
call
land that
black
they
and
own
Moorish.
have been passed in it through their family forever and a day. They've been here forever. Shinnecocks don't live on reservations. They were never quote unquote conquered.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So the story about the Montaukes is that they were stripped of their nationality or their stake or their claims to their land because when the census came around in the 1900s, they wrote that they was black. So the government ran to court and said, look, they've disappeared. There's no Montaukes here. They you know what I'm saying? We can't find them. There's no trace of them.
Right.
So they play these games with status that our people, again, don't seem to understand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they snatched that land from my family, and they started the Montauk Experience and Brookhaven Labs and all of these things that they've created via stolen land.
That's crazy.
But we are looking at, well, how did they get the land?
Right.
Simple, just through the census.
Through the census
Shout
alone.
out to my brother Turtle Gang, who's Lenape. Same thing happened to his people up in Sand Hill. You know what I'm saying? We need to get him to tell his story.
Real talk.
About
Real
his
talk.
people. So
that's more than welcome.
Yeah.
Real talk. So let me ask you, just to be clear, you're saying that through the census, they basically disinherited the family by them using words that didn't apply to the Montauk Asiatics, meaning by them claiming to be black, it disconnected the inheritance.
Yeah, from the inheritance, right.
Word, real
took the
talk.
land from them.
So this is, and that's important because, you know, when Moors are saying we're not black, it's not we don't love our people. It's just we know what that word is doing, as you was mentioning with the spell casting and the spell crafting. You know what I mean? But on that note,
same thing happened in the South. People don't want to tell it.
They
don't want to tell it like that. You know what I'm saying? But when they came and they snatched people's lands up and their family and all of that, and there's people still going through that, you know, in court right now, and they just don't have a clue as to why they getting hit upside their head. They just don't get it. And they're so emotionally attached to that badge of slavery, they just don't want to let it go.
Right, and their ancestors wasn't really about, they might not ever been slaves. Like Red was saying in the Take This Pill Part 1, you know, the neurocinematics is doing a lot of damage on that too. But to take it back to this is all divine. In the 101s left by Noble Drali, because we're talking Moors, and he was waking people up to the fact that, you know, you're not Negro, black, and colored. You have a vast estate. That was his whole point, is to help prevent the very situation you was just talking about. But in there, he's talked about Asiatics And he said, what is the modern word for these angels? And it said Asiatics, or the modern word for these Asiatics, and the answer was angels.
And I hope that the ancestors will guide me to touch on this Africa thing, to touch on Asiatic. Oh, they say, oh, you got to know what you're doing, boy. Because you know it's a whole lot of us in here. I understand more. I'm a Moor.
And that took me into, you know, a deific form of thought where when we look at even this so-called political system or this democracy, we can see it in the words that democracy means demon-craft. That's what it is. So sometimes, yeah, the demon crafters, the demos, like they're blatantly claiming that.
In the night, the police union had broken into his house, threatened his family and his car. All the tires were broken. So his hands were tied, which I accept, his hands were tied, but you are a judge. You're supposed to do what's right. I mean, either you're going to face the devil or you're going to do what's right. And he chose to face the devil because he went along with the PBA. He was scared for his children.
When we look at the Asiatics, the Aboriginals, in other words, because they say Indians, but you know India is in Asia, right? So Asiatic is more of a broad, or more of a universal appellation for the Aboriginal people. But when you look at it from that perspective, okay, he's saying Asiatics are angels. These pilgrims are claiming to be demon crafters, right? Do you think that that also has something like, because there's chosen ones, right? Everybody has a life purpose, but there's certain chosen ones who may have to go before these demon crafters, not just to speak up for themselves, like in your situation, but what you've done, that might have been opening doors for other people coming behind you. But the demons, they say demons recognize gods. Do you think that correlated with your situation? They like, yo, hold on. You this type of divinity or deific, you know what I mean, life form, it's attached to your name. What are you doing? Like, do you think that some of us have to, because, you know, people's concepts of angels and demons is...
Yeah, a lot of these magistrates, quote-unquote judges, some people might refer to them as, they're soul eaters. So, you know, when it comes to their ranking in these fraternal orders, they're all the way up.
So we have to read between the lines, and when we go to court, we have to see between the lines what this one's telling that one, and winking over here, and smiling over here, and going like that over here. All those little signs we gotta watch out for, because those are clues that they're gonna either drop the case, and nobody can do nothing about it once they drop it.
You know, they're 33 and the third, so I do believe that they have a level of mystical import where they can see you for who you are. You know what I'm saying? Whether they pulling your chart, I don't know what they be looking at on them pieces of paper in front of them. But they be looking at, you know what I mean? They'll take their glasses down, they'll look, and they'll look at you again. They looking for something. They looking at something, and they start shooting from that spot. So, like I said, there's been situations like, you know, if I had a ring to kiss, they would kiss it. They'd be like, oh, you're released. Case dismissed, go.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So they, like I said, I've seen them, you know, pay homage. I've seen them do particular things that with beckon, you know, that there was a level of intel that goes beyond what we're privy to.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And I, you know, file a Freedom of Information Act. Whoever you are listening to this, find out what's on file about you. Find out what these people got in their files. What's being said? What do they know? You know what I mean? You might not get no fraternal information. You know what I'm saying? But the whole aspect of this, them being Shriners, is that they have to know who's who right now. So they already know who the ones are.
Exactly.
They know who the ones are. They know who they need to look out for. You know what I'm saying? They know who's on the move and shit, and what they doing. Man, I've had a very strange life in regards to you know, what I can explain in regards to surveillance and the way that random people used to come up to me and say things to me when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? And we're not gonna get too much into the mystical aspect
we ain't gotta go there.
pills, but there's I've always kind of been mindful that there's been a watchful eye.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And because, like you said, certain people are calibrated to come back during this particular time, and you are equipped with the potentiality to do certain things that have a resounding effect on the globe or the galaxy.
Right.
They can pull your chart and see who that is. Like, that
Absolutely.
shit is not hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They can cast, they can do different things if they wanted to obtain this level of information to see who's who and what's what.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But you have to be fortified in your resolve to just not be shook. You have to be fortified, and you gotta have an imagination. Like I said, when I was doing battle with these beasts, I was envisioning certain things. I was going up in there, but on a spiritual plane in my mind, I'm swinging swords, I'm cutting off heads, I'm slaying dragons, I'm dragging them. You feel me?
Yeah.
And then you start seeing the repercussions, you know what I mean, play out in the ethereal plane of matter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You gotta go up in there utilizing different craft. Just put it at that. But your paperwork is spell work. Your paperwork is craft work. That's why you have to prepare it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to put the spirit in your paperwork. Stop fucking crying about shit that don't work.
Right.
You're paying for your work.
Right.
You're paying for that shit and you're complaining because it don't work.
Yeah.
Because you ain't put your essence in it.
That's what
you
it
didn't
is.
break hours, you know what I mean, doing the research and studying and get a eureka moment and be excited to to put that work together. That work is that work.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. That's the sincerest
So,
way to come at it.
If
Is
a signature combines you and puts you in a predicament that you're locked in, like because our people are so removed from their own reality, let's look at a recording artist. Since you don't want to see it for yourself, let's look at what a recording artist does.
Okay.
They sign a contract. Inside of that contract, it says, look, nigga, I own your name, I own your likeness, I own your digital rights, you know what I'm saying? And I own you!
Right.
And you gotta give me 7 albums before you can get you back. And all of that shit started, it was enforced by a signature, right?
Yeah.
Signing their nature, okay? Just a signature. They ain't have to get blood.
Right.
You feel me? They didn't have to sign off on 30 pages. That one signature is good enough. Okay? So, if one signature has that much power, that it can endow somebody to capture your soul on paper. All right? So that's what these sorcerers are doing. Put niggas in file cabinets forever, like,
Right.
we good. You feel me? Next.
Yeah.
If one signature can do that, what can a 3 or 4 page affidavit do?
Word.
That you're putting your essence into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you understand what some of them affidavits really be saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you putting that on record.
Right.
And when you're demonstrating properly and you're bringing that paperwork to life in these particular venues, you fucking shit up.
True indeed.
If done right. So this whole campaign where people is belly aching and crying about this don't work and that don't work, I don't think that you applied yourself enough.
Right, they're not
I
putting
don't
in
see
the work.
enough scars. I don't see enough bumps and bruises.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Take the Edison approach. Try the shit 1,000 times before you say it don't work.
Real talk. Yeah,
Feel me?
exactly. I totally respect that because, you know, if you're not putting your own spirit and soul into it, it's no matter what you do, you're going to come off robotic. You know what I mean? And you're not, nobody's going to respect that at all.
Right. And there are some people that are getting caught up in the process. They don't, you know, they're not carrying through the rightful application of these particular set of processes. So do your research.
Absolutely.
First and foremost. I had a mentor when I was going through mine. I had people that I could reach back to and speak to in real time. I don't know if I would have been able to do it without that. So I don't recommend that you go in there, you know, without some sort of assistance and guidance, some mentorship, some preparation.
Word.
Right?
No doubt. Now let me ask you this next question, right? And feel free to answer this or not. But looking back at it, like, yo, y'all come from a legacy of law lords, in my opinion. And I'm gonna explain why. Okay, Dr. Sabi, right? He did what he did. From my understanding, I know you can explain this story way better than I can. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would ask you though, how did that feel like, or does that feel looking back? Like, yo, I really came up around legends, right? Because him and your mother, from my understanding, they had made the cure for what they're calling AIDS in the 80s, right? And then they got, how the pilgrim does. They want to test your chin to see if you're official. They eventually beat that case though. Do you look back like, yo, I was kind of like always around this? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
when I had came into the information
yeah.
in the 2000s, early 2000s, it didn't even dawn on me while I was going through it. This is something similar to what the elder went through. It was
Yeah.
'03 when the elder came, and he was actually attempting to get his court transcripts, and I had to bring my mentor in to assist him with this particular process.
Yeah.
And we were speaking of the similarities that he spoke on, the fact that he defended himself, and he defeated the New York State Supreme Court under Assistant District Attorney Robert Abrams. But then, as of lately, I've seen paperwork that speaks to a possible different outcome than that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still mindful, but I still honor the fact that, yes, the brother, and as my mother has a lecture coming on the 26th, where she's going to be unveiling some of the information that she had and some of the documentation.
Okay.
And she said this originally was a plan of his to begin with. He said he was going to bait the white boy and pull him in. You know what I'm saying? And the white boy fell for the bait. And ultimately, he got to do what it was that he attempted to do. He demonstrated. He got up there and he demonstrated. You know what I'm saying? And he brought forth his witnesses. For Moors, we may not agree because he went all the way to trial. He went a little bit further. And we say that the process should take and what have you. But he played it out the way that he was supposed to. And he left blood on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And irregardless of what the outcome was, whether the brother took a plea and it was presented to us differently. Like I said, I got the article saying the case was dismissed. My mother said she was in court when the case was dismissed. So we don't know about the backroom shenanigans. You know
Right.
But the demonstration was still solid. The fact that this brother was willing to put it all on the line.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And he came out victorious, irregardless.
Right.
Okay, because the healing commenced. You know what I'm saying? The healing commenced, and people are still being cured to this particular day.
Right.
So, yeah, I do think, when I put it all in perspective, you know what I mean? It was able for me to understand what was being said about, Moorish jurisprudence and things of that nature. Because I had a real life example of it.
Yeah, real talk.
The brother said that he defended himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he said that, you know what I mean? He did it on his own terms and he walked. That's what he said. That's what I was taught.
Right.
And it was good enough for me, like I said. Even if it was just for my imagination. It gave me the fortitude to go in there and wish for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because it's in the legacy of what's already been done.
Yeah.
Now, I knew this man, period, to be fearless of Europeans. Fearless.
Word.
Fearless.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? I don't take anything, take no shit from them. So that was enough. You know what I mean? That was enough. And sometimes, like I said, man, you got to take what's given and make the best of it. And sometimes it could be a demonstration. Sometimes it could be what you've seen from your elders the last 2 minutes. And that you can pull that with you for the rest of your life. And draw from that when you need it.
Absolutely.
So the brother was able to give us a lot in way of standing up on your own truth for your own self and defending who it is you are, what it is that you do. That's what I got from the elder. So I'm honored. Yes, I grew up around a legend, and I got to see him do legendary things in real time. And again, that was another situation where, the authorities at the time, they was trying to get my mother to turn states. On Sabi. They wanted to give her a litany of things that they wanted her to say so they could trip him up in court. You feel me?
Right.
And she refused.
Gotcha.
She shot him down.
That's what's
and they
really
told
good.
her, they was like, look, we'll make your children's lives a living hell. We were 10 at the time. So these are the beasts that you're dealing with. This is what you're talking about.
To what Carl said, do you want to be in this state, or do you want to raise your children in this state? That's what we got to think about. Do we want to bring our kids here where we're afraid for him to go to the store around the corner? What could happen to him? A lot of mothers right now tremble when their kids go out that door because they don't know if he's coming back.
Right.
They told my mother they would make her children's lives a living hell if she didn't cooperate. She still said, fuck you.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
And then we got corruption in the courthouses too. We got the corruption from the judge owe a favor to this one, and this one owe a favor to this one, and this lawyer owes a favor to him, and then he wants to get that favor done. And the DA, forget about the DA. They are the most corrupt people in They when I took over the DA's office, they asked me, what do you want? I said, what do you mean what I want? I want this cop in jail. Well, we could bring him I forgot the word. Re-indict in 2 years. Hell no, you're not going to re-indict 2 years, everybody gone. I want him now, you know?
And that's what's really good. Y'all here, and big acknowledgement to your mom too, because that she is doing some work the people need. Oh, I was about to say the community needs. Now, I gotta ask you this one question, because you made a big statement, Blue. You made a big statement. And if you could just take us through the lineage of the conscious community, right? Because that term is thrown around real loosely today. Like they're like if you watch the video on YouTube and like it, they be like, oh, you're part of the conscious community. Like that's how it's being equated nowadays. You feel what I'm saying? Or anybody who gets up and speaks about anything, they like, yo, that he's a part of the conscious community. Like anybody is getting hit with that conscious community brand.
That's a bad thing? That's like being called gay or something?
No,
oh, okay.
No, it's not. It's not. But from my understanding, and I could be wrong because I know consciousness been around for a while. But what we're seeing today, there's some, back to what I was saying, you being a media legend, is it not that you had a lot of effects coming from the metaphysical underground? Is that true or is that false?
Yeah, when I answered my calling, I don't want to say when I became awoke, because I was always woke.
Right.
Even when I was in my other lifestyle.
Yeah.
You couldn't be in them streets and be asleep.
Right.
I couldn't be in the stores and be asleep.
Yeah.
So I was more cognizant than anything. I had to observe everyone.
Right.
In real time and factor in who's who and what's what. So I was super woke.
Yes.
I was sentient. I could feel things. I could hear things, you know what I'm saying, beyond my regular capabilities. Because that's how good that you had to be to survive. Okay? But when I answered my calling to say, look, I'm bigger than this.
Right.
Right? When the shit that the magistrate was saying to us, you know, at that point, 8-9 years ago, prior to that point, it started registering like, hold on. Better than this. You know what I'm saying? I could do something with my intellectual property that can net me, you know, a return rather than taking stuff from Europeans.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
Playing this game with them. I got tired of the games.
Got you.
You know, and I got jammed up. I had 2 cases.
Got
So, and they wanted to give me 15 years apiece.
Damn.
In those cases, Jersey cases. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Woodbridge and shit like that. So
speak on it. I had to bang with them.
Yeah,
I had to
crazy.
bang with them, bro.
Bergen County.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I had made a decision, you know what I mean? And a good friend of mine, Brother Rikers, you know, I had known this brother to be in the craft I didn't know anything about the craft at that time. You know, but prior to him being a craft, he was a Decepticon. He was a gang member, you know what I'm saying, of the Deceps. So we all grew up together in that. So this was my man from the streets. But I knew that he was grown up and he was dealing with the craft at this particular point. Now this brother had also, he had been shot 5 times and came back from the dead. And when he came back, he was a different person. Wow. You know what I'm saying? That's like I said, this is where he became more serious. He was a craft, he was in craft. And I ran into him randomly in the street one day. And I told him what was going on because he could see the stress on my face. And he was like, yo, you need to come to this class. I got a Wednesday night class for you to go to uptown, all right, where these Moors are dealing with law, okay? And this is when we used to meet on 138th, I think, in Lenox. Yeah, right?
Soul Brothers, Soul Brothers, I think it was called.
Even before that, yeah.
Before that, okay,
okay. A while back, right?
Okay, got you.
And brother had brought me up there, and I sat through a few classes, you know, and I started asking some questions, and in the process, the vetting process went underway. Because they observed me for like 2 months before they gave me any information. Prior to that, there was some D-boys that had came through there and got some info. They was buying planes with shit. They was discharging, you know, they was,
right.
The shit that be making malls stupid duper hot. So you know, I had to go through a process of observation. You know what I mean? And that was cool because I was learning during that particular period in time. But I started pulling from a lot of different places once I slowed down and got out of the street. I started looking for information.
Indeed.
So I ran into one brother, he was a Ross. I ran into him on Flatbush Avenue, Albemarle. His name is Phoenix. No, his man's name is Phoenix. He was Infinity, right? Ross named Infinity. You can find him now. He still vends by Bowling Green. He had a VHS tape. It was called X-Men Decoded. And I was like, whoa, somebody decoded X-Men? I need to see that. And it just so happens it was Phil Valentine.
Now hold that in your mind. Remember the research of Dr. Neely Fuller that was later enhanced by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, which showed that the Caucasian's culture of games and warfare is the acting out of his subconscious, which he also articulates through his movies? All right.
Okay, so that was the first joint that I took home. And then I had ran into another brother downtown Brooklyn, right outside of the DeKalb train station, named Brother Shabazz. And he had a bunch of tapes, VHSs at that time. So he had something from Bobby Hemmett. And I got something also from Asha Kwesi, right? Dealing with the Christian tales that you could go to Kemet and find on the wall, right? So all of this stuff was a mind blower for me. I was just blown away. I couldn't believe that this level of information was being disseminated in the community and I never heard about it. You know what I'm saying? And I started asking around to the elders, and they knew who these people was, but every time I would go to somebody my age or younger, they be like, what, who, huh? You know what I'm saying? So there wasn't a formulative, quote-unquote, community. God bodies were doing their thing, and that was dwindling, you know what I'm saying, where you could find it. Wu-Tang destroyed that, so there was a point in time where you could find them on corners, consistently doing what it is that they was doing. That time was no longer around. The Wapians, the same thing. They was on their way to Georgia, and like I said, these were just different sects. And I was coming into information when I was going through the prison systems or what have you, but there was no community. You know what I'm saying? Nation was still a nation, but Khalid was on the scene.
Are you a Muslim, Khalid? Yes, I am. But I'm a Moor. Islam. I'm a Moor. And got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor. And wouldn't come in your house or come among you and say I'm a Moor if I didn't feel in my heart, in my mind, in my soul that I am. I would tell you, God damn it, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Ain't no more. So if I say it, I mean it. And if I mean it, generally, I say it.
But, you know what I mean? He was pulling some youth, but there wasn't no community.
Gotcha.
It wasn't no community per se. And then I started going to the lectures of the people that I was listening and looking at. You know what I'm saying? And I was the only one in these lectures under the age of 40.
Word.
I was the only one.
Indeed.
And I was the only one asking questions.
Right.
And the questions that I was asking was moving the lecture along because the shit was intuitive. Like, I was listening to what was being said, and I was asking real questions in real time, and everybody was benefiting. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
So, I had started a newspaper, right?
Indeed.
Around that time, because I'm like, look, I got to generate something. I went to school for journalism.
Yeah.
Just so happened, I ran into my cousin, whose man was starting a hip-hop newspaper. All right? So I got in while I fit in as a writer. So I started writing for the newspaper. A few months on a gig, brother comes along named Black Dot.
You already lost the fight whenever I come across the mic, because you're dealing with God and you can never exhaust the light. We making the shift from hip hop to God hop. It's the return of the ancient ones and we coming non-stop. So when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I'm here, straight from the boogie down, so have no fear.
What happened to the MCs? Ask yourself.
Who has this amazing body of work. He had already had articles that he had written, done, that he wanted to put into a book. He never published them. He was driving a bus at the time.
Right.
So he's like, yo, let's do it over here. Let's publish some of these stories in this newspaper. So we started that.
Word.
And then me and the brother started dialoguing. And he's like, yo, what can we do to bring more young people into the fold of this information? And he's like, look, let's start hosting some of these lectures ourselves.
Word.
So I introduced him to another brother who will remain nameless, who put up some of the bread, and we had went to Shabazz because he had the links to the lecturers.
Right.
Put that thing together, and it became the Metaphysical Underground. I fell back,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying, somewhat into the shadows to do my thing with the newspaper, because now I'm back in the industry. Now I'm in the music industry, moving around these rappers and shit like that.
Right.
You know, and we're holding them to task. We're speaking real, you know, about real topics and things of that nature. But it was two different worlds.
Right.
And we started, you know, building on the lectures. You know, Phil, Bobby, Delbert coming in. And we had prepared this whole stage for my cousin coming home, A.A. Rashid.
The topic at hand, what we're going to discuss is we're going to go more into metaphysics. So we're going to speak about more metaphysics, and the more that we're speaking about, of course, is the M-O-O-R. So with that, first let's set the stage for what is metaphysics. Metaphysics is the science of studying that which is beyond the physical realm.
Now, if nothing else, I had wanted to create a world where he would be able to get this information out that he had been studying for 10 years based on Kabbalah. Because I'm going to see the brother on visits and he's blowing me away. I'm like, yo, how are we going to get this to the people who need it? There's no formulative aspect of bringing youth in to have them hear this information. So we built that stage.
Absolutely.
With the Metaphysical Underground. And then Rashid came and he started adding on. And then you had the Sears and
Brigham Young. Brigham Young was a dude who basically carved out a place in Utah after the traditional Moorish Empire. After the traditional Moorish Empire was broken up. So when they started to get rid of Moors and people that look like me, a lot of the Freemasons who adopted the Moorish science in secret, like Brigham Young, decided to incorporate a lot of the tenets of the Moors into this new pseudo-religion that he was trying to create. Because what they wanted to do was create a religious path for themselves to live as Moors without really being Moors.
And all these other people that was coming after that, and they were adding on. And then the shit fell out with Phil and Shabazz, okay, based on him having his differences with Bobby Hemmett. And then that's where Sarnetta came in, okay? And Sarnetta revolutionized the game because he was the first one that brought DVDs and finished the era of VHSs. So not only did he come with new technology, right, he had got the endorsement from the master teacher, and then they formulated a team. They started pushing and doing their thing, and that's how the whole Harlem aspect, you know what I mean, came in. And then Soul Brothers and everything, Big Man and Jack and Soul Brothers, you know, all of that stuff that was right up over here, you know, We started doing lectures up here
Yeah.
on Barry and Dempsey. And then the ball just started rolling and rolling and rolling, and you just had your whole cast of characters come up.
Yeah.
Who you know now. And mind you, the majority of people who y'all listen to or who you know, all of these niggas, Part Itself, all the majority of people that you know of and that you're looking at, this is all post-Obama. So within the last 8 years is when you got your SETIs, Polites, you know what I'm saying? You name them. All of this is post-Obama. The Leo energy. The Umars of the world. You know what I'm saying? But the stage had already been set.
It had been
built
set. Now,
based on our passion to reach the youth.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And
So the young pharaohs and the young Marcuses of the world and all of that are coming up now, who were deprived from this experience for whatever reason when they were children, and they speak as if this stuff had never existed 10, 15 years ago. No, this is what we put together for the youth of this particular time in the day. And it's unfortunate that this information wasn't able to reach you where you was at. Okay? But we were able to reach millions.
Yeah, it was.
Okay?
And would you say that the technology, because there's a lot of people like their timeline stops when YouTube first started. They don't go back further than that. You know what I mean? Let alone go researching Noble Drew Ali or you know what I mean, Khalid Muhammad or Elijah. We know that their works reverberated. Still to this day there's reverberations. But what I'm saying is, as far as that push of getting a message out there, the YouTube wave, the Facebook, Twitter, all of that is what's making this like kind of more ameliorated.
Yeah, it's all post-Obama.
Post-Obama, but that does not take away the footwork that was already done that you did. So that's why I say, you know, I said from the jump, knowing that, and I would respectfully say you're a media legend.
I'm gonna tell you what happened, right?
Yeah.
One of the last main lectures that we had, right? I think it was Bobby and Phil, and it was a combination. And I had fell so far back to let people doing what they was doing at that time, because then at this time, mind you, I done did the newspaper, right? Then I had my public access TV shows, right, that I partnered with a childhood friend, my dude, Majesty, and we did Street Knowledge, okay? And then January 1st, 2007, when YouTube launched, we was on YouTube. By a year later, I had 1 million hits on YouTube, okay? So we got pulled by Sony to head their online music division. So I'm going to these lectures, but I'm an executive at Sony at this point. So I'm like, y'all niggas got to do what it is that y'all said that y'all came here to do. I've already created the stage. I'm not a fucking lecturer or X, Y, and Z. I'm just here observing to make sure everything do what it do. I might have been now and then. You know what I'm saying? I wanted the money on that back end. But I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, standing on those stages and marveling the people and getting deep with the information. I was still a student. I'm learning, and I'm learning how to take this information back into the industry and teach it to some of these artists. You feel me? So I remember I was at one of these functions. It was like the last big lecture we had, and Phil was acknowledging the people that were responsible for, you know, putting these stages together and getting him to this particular point where he can do what he loved to do, which was always he wanted to talk to the youth. That's all he used to talk about. I need this information for the youth. I don't need old heads and constantly at these lectures. It's like I'm preaching to the choir. Where's the young people that's going to carry this? So he had acknowledged everybody that participated, and I didn't get a mention. So I was like, I done fell too far back in the cut. I'm in the shadows to a degree where niggas can just close the door and be like, hey, hey, what's good? So we spoke on that, and they was like, yo, you got to tell your story, and you know what I mean, we're gonna make sure that we make a mention that you had this part to do with it and that part. And I'm like, that's cool. I didn't do it for that. I didn't do it, but you still should acknowledge.
You still should pay that respect.
You still should pay that respect. But you know, it goes back to the whole thing of, you know, a closed mouth don't get fed.
That's
so if
true,
you don't promote yourself, very rarely how these niggas gonna promote you, and it's no slight on them. You feel me? It's just not their job per se. You know, and the ones that are true to this, you know, they are gonna be the ones to always make sure. Because I would never, myself,
Right.
I would never tell a story inclusive of somebody that has something to do with it.
Right, exactly.
I tell long ass stories because I make sure that I put them names in because I know that this is going to be digitized and archived.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
And I learned that from my elders. I've seen elders who has disavowed everyone that played their part for them elders to get there, and when they get there, it's all about that elder.
Right, right,
and I lived through that shit,
Yeah.
so I know what it's about.
Yeah.
So I make sure that I give everybody, even the niggas I don't fuck with, I
Yeah.
still make mention of them.
Yeah.
Because if they was a part, then they should still be mentioned. I'm not gonna rewrite nobody out of
Right.
history. That's BS.
That's exactly.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
got
And
it,
I also
that was
don't
good.
overbear my role in the story. It speaks for itself. And
Absolutely.
the people that are accredited with being the progenitors or the starters of it, goddammit, they're the ones that can co-sign because they should know as well. So go ask them
Right.
to get the co-signatures. Who put this shit together?
Right.
You feel me?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you know,
that's what's
like
really
I said,
good.
and this information was going into the newspapers, you know, and we were reaching, you know what I'm saying, mad people in mad hoods because we controlled the bodegas at that time with Four Corners newspaper.
Word.
So I was pumping this information to the people who needed it the most, who were unsuspecting that they were getting this level of education.
Right,
They was
right,
going
right.
to get a hip-hop newspaper, they broke away with metaphysics.
Right,
They
right,
was
right.
being told that Bush knocked down the towers before Jadakiss said it, because I was the one that put that idea in his head during the interview.
Why did Bush knock down the towers? Why you around them cowards? Why?
Right, right, right.
Okay?
Indeed.
So, like I said, there's been a lot that we have been able to do. And then we came with No the Less Radio.
Yes.
6.5 years of just excellence.
Yeah.
On air excellence. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Bring this information. Then No the Less TV. Well, like I said, I left Sony and came back into the streets with my brother and helped him start No the Less TV on YouTube. Then he showed Sarnetta how to put a YouTube channel together, and then we got Sarnetta TV. So it's like, once again, feel me?
Yeah.
I've been there at the starts of all of these particular situations and movements where I'm probably on my 4th cycle. Because like you said, nobody goes back before 07, 06, 05.
Right,
no one
right,
really
right.
reaches that far. And the people that were there during that time, you don't really see them no more.
Right,
Outside
right,
of probably
yeah.
Black Dot, A.A. Rashid, you feel me?
Yeah.
And of course we got Valentine is still here. Bobby's not.
See, Freeman was one that said that the Knights Templars were started by the Moors. See, the Moors, while a lot of people don't know about the Moors were Egyptian priests.
Right.
Delber's not.
When the people called the Moors came out of North Africa and went into the lands that we now call the European countries. There was no European country that they did not touch. I repeat, there was no European country that they did not go into.
Savi's not.
Kirby wanted money. He became a cab driver in New York. I didn't want any money. I didn't want it then or now. Because it's not important in your life. It was never important in our lives. The Maya shows that. The Maya built pyramids. The Maya lived for millions of years in the jungles of Central America. No money. The Africans? How long did we live in Africa without money? Since creation. Now they tell us we need money to fight AIDS.
I know,
You know what I'm
that's sad, yeah. They did some wicked shit.
France, you know, we've lost a lot of. Then
There came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain. The Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. From 711 until 1485, 774 years, when we built and brought into Europe the university system, building the University of Salamanca, S-A-L-A-M-A-N-C-A in Spain, a copy of the University of Genève from ancient Ghana, which was equally a copy of the University of Sankore in Tombouctou, which the French later called Timbuktu. Now, look, if you want to read it, read Stanley Lane Poole's The Moors in Spain, written in 1887, or Alejandro Macaziza. Read his book in Spanish, The Moors in Spain.
Yo. It's just a lot of people that are no longer here that are part of, when I think about that time, they're no longer here. So it's very important that we tell these stories. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I often tell of my story when I you know, I slayed my dragon, my first dragon, my full my Highlander body.
Right.
It was on September 10th, 2001. The day before the towers came down. You know what I'm saying? These are the stories that we have to tell.
Yes, absolutely.
Because very few people were frontlining during these particular engagements where they could speak about what changed post 9/11. I remembered what changed. Because I experienced it, you know what I'm saying, in the wells of the motherfucking courtroom.
Word. Yeah, and now, I would like for you to speak about that, just some key things you noticed that have changed. But I want to say big acknowledgement for all your achievements, KTL radio, things like that. And I got to say, man, it's an honor to have you on Mantis Views 29, because you and Red had me and my mother on KTL radio for your 5th year anniversary.
But your mother was on our very first episode. Your mother
helped
us inaugurate
Word.
KTL radio because we did it on the prophet's birthday, on the born days, you know, solar return.
Absolutely,
okay?
Absolutely.
So we had to make sure that the mother came through.
No.
But I have to say though, and Anna, I don't know what your position is, and son, you might have yours. We've had a wonderful time leading to that wondrous illuminating light of truth water. It's been great. And it's going to continue to be great.
Real talk.
Because it is truly liberating and rewarding and honorable, we feel with honor, to even be doing it. I can't even explain it.
You know what I'm saying? And opened the way and blessed it. We have Valentine on as well.
Absolutely.
You know, as the Baba in that situation.
Indeed.
So, and we always bring y'all back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's imperative and it's important.
Word.
And that's how we pay homage.
Absolutely.
We make sure that the story is continuous. It always has to be told.
Yeah.
Repeated. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Add on to it. Like, this is what's important to us.
Absolutely, you know? Man. Absolutely. Your brothers is doing a very great job. Now, one of the things I want to say, because you was mentioning speaking to the youth, and we started off this conversation with the attack of the policy enforcers, the highwaymen, on our people. And there was a point where you was mentioning dealing with the embarrassment of it. Not that you was embarrassed, they was embarrassed.
They was embarrassed.
Okay, but say you on the flip side of that. Now, right, you walk away from the situation. Let's say you get out, they give you a date, and now you gotta go to your mail. When you go to your mail, you got notices from these people. And after a while, you know what I mean, it can make you feel some type of way, like, yo, like, why is this energy on me? You know you're not really a criminal, but they're trying to criminalize you, and you're not really that. What would you say to the youth who may experience that and come out of that situation?
For the youth, take me for an example. Like I said, I had came out of my first situation. This probably was 07 or 08 when I was in front of the Apollo, getting it on with 8 of the policy enforcers.
Yeah.
Just to have a repeat situation, and I think it might have been 2014 or 2015, when Freddie Gray had got killed in Baltimore. Whatever that date was. So here I am, finding myself in a cyclical cycle, damn near in the same situation, with 8 or 9 policy enforcers piled on top of me, talking about he's got a knife, or something like that. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I had to calibrate in my own mind. Well, what am I going through where I had been outside of the purview of these folk for 7 or 8 years? I had no incidents.
Right.
They see me and they, have a good day, sir, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And after that thing happened in Harlem, the precinct commander got removed from it. Like everything shook up.
Word.
And I wasn't even pushing no paperwork to do that.
Right.
It just spirit just happened. They cut everybody's neck off.
Yes.
And those officers, those policy enforcers on 2/5 to this day, maximum respect. Anytime we come,
Word.
because they never seen nothing like that.
Indeed.
So sometimes out here, especially in these streets, you gotta earn it.
Yeah.
But back to what I was speaking about in terms of me having to reconcile in my own mind. How would I find myself right back here?
Right.
And sometimes, and not for all of us, but some of us, we have to go into the underworld. Some of us have to go into mental.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to experience what I experienced in that very brief stint or brief stay that I was in that particular situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I found out about the retina scans that they were doing.
Uh-huh.
I found out about a lot of illegal things that are going on, you know, in these catacombs.
They archiving people's DNA.
Yeah, they taking the DNA, they doing the retina scans. You know what I'm saying? It's mad shit that was going on. And I got a chance to speak to, they had a phalanx of Black Lives Matter, quote unquote, professional protesters. These dudes was racking up arrests on some, yo, I'm on my 20-something arrest. Like, they think that there's badges in that. Because they're like, King got arrested X amount of time, so if we're protesting for the people, we gotta rack it up. We can't be going these places and not getting locked up.
Wow,
But they was able to explain certain things to me and give me a perspective that I needed. And then I also realized that earlier that day, based on what I was seeing on the TV, I got programmed. I was angry.
Right.
I had an energy on me that attracted that situation
all
to
of
me.
that. Word.
So for the youngsters, I would say be super mindful of your temple. Guard your projection screen, okay? Because whatever you take in visually through your eyes is being processed up here. And your eyes are attached to your brain, okay? So when your brain starts recalibrating and processing things, right, this is going to determine how you see the world. And this energy that you're putting out is magnetizing. It's going to pull to you what you're attracting.
Absolutely.
So you have to be super, like, mindful of what you're letting into your temple.
Indeed.
You let it in through your ears. You let it in through your nose. You let it in through your eyes. You let it in through your mouth. You have to be very guarded as to what it is that you're letting into your cipher. Because those things could bend you out of shape. And put a whole nother energy on you, and you find yourself magnetizing and attracting death towards you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm never the one to say, that those brothers brought it on themselves.
Right. I understand what you're saying.
I would never say that. But I also am the one to stand on the fact that I say that there's no victims here, only volunteers.
Absolutely. Can I add on to that?
Yeah, we have to find a mid-road to reconcile that.
Real talk. Absolutely. When you said you wouldn't be the one to say they did it to themselves, I was explaining to you, I've been through that situation too, getting choked out, doing the push-up with the policy enforcer on my back. When the adrenaline kicks in, they not really built like that. But I'm telling you, I struggled with, did I bring that on myself? The reason why I did is because before I left out the house that day, something told me to stay home. It was like, I was on the road about 10 miles away from my house, and I wanted to U-turn. That's how strong this intuition was telling me, don't go down this road. What do you think about that? And that same day,
the astrological
that
aspect.
happened.
Because, it's called, you're having a Mars day. Shout out to my brother Rod Koo from the Cosmo Physicians, where if we do my monthly chart and he says on these specific days, look, you're gonna have a Mars day. Those are days that I do not really be trying to be outside if I don't need to. It's not necessary because Mars is martial energy, it's military. It is the police. Okay? The police have Saint Michael in the top of their hat. That's their patron saint. They are Martian energy. So the fact that you're having a Mars day, when you come outside and you see red, you see them fire trucks, you see red everywhere and shit like, you're having a Mars day. You need to be super mindful of you. Damn sure shouldn't have no red on.
And red, you know, is blood.
Yeah. I had an interesting dream about red that scared me. I didn't wear red for like 3 years straight.
Don't wear it.
Yeah, I for 3 years I would not wear red.
You see, sometimes we don't listen to ourselves. God is self talking to you. Your destiny is talking to you through thing, through your dream, through sign. But we don't listen. Some people, they can be their color. Okay, that is for them. Not for everybody.
Indeed.
Red can be for Shango. Like if it does, but you don't have to wear it all the time.
Because you're going to attract these energies towards you.
Bro.
So this is a science about how to walk through this matrix. And these are Smiths. Okay? So you have to be mindful about how to avoid Smiths. Now I be on my shit with it. And it's not even now. I've been on my, and like I said, studying and fortifying your mind, like being quote unquote sovereign in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Internalizing this information where it can become your mental quote unquote weapon, and I'm using that in the most peaceful way possible.
Understood.
Okay?
Understood. Right.
You become invisible to these people. You feel me? You become invisible to these people. And you create an energy on you where they gotta respect you. You know what I'm saying? They got to
seen that happen.
You feel
Definitely
me?
seen that happen. Absolutely.
So it's about your character and the air in which you carry your particular character. It's about the light that you're enveloping yourself in. It's about you studying and fortifying yourself to a degree mentally where you know, I got this. You don't go outside looking to tussle. But you like, I'm fortified. I got this. I got 2 things on me.
If
you know,
need be.
ethereally. Right? And you're gonna shoot. You're gonna shoot. Your faculties is intact. You know how to defend yourself at all times.
Real talk.
This is necessary. It's important that you are fortified like that if you're gonna be out here, especially if you're gonna be out here on these front lines.
Real talk.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Build up your resistance to the bulls.
That's aura.
The BS.
Things like that.
I wear, or I attempt to, you know, I color coordinate with the planetary energy of the particular days. You know what I'm saying? You know, I keep my amulets on me at times. You feel me?
Absolutely.
There are people that, again, like I said, they study different aspects of different arts before they come into this paperwork. And certain aspects of certain arts can have you understand paperwork a little bit better. Like I said, if you understand spell casting. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, like, don't leave nothing out. If you want to fully engage this thing, or just become the master of that one thing and learn how to utilize that. I know people that can use chopsticks, like you know, like nunchucks. They mastered chopsticks. They could beat your ass with some chopsticks. Break you down. They mastered that. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with this information.
Real talk.
Like, find you something that you resonate with and hammer that. Become the expert. There's too many people crying. Too many people belly aching,
complaining
about X, Y, and Z. This shit also has to do with a firm moral character as well. You have a responsibility with this information. You have a responsibility if you're talking about, you know, you're nationalizing and you're walking and you're, again, I don't, you know, because of temperature and place that we're in, the sovereign state of mind that you're in, it comes with a lot of responsibilities.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Comes with a lot of responsibilities.
So the babysitting mentality got to be
we all know dirty
eradicated.
Moors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who, you know, this shit is a hustle for them. It's a front.
Right.
They're really not about that life.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
So it's when things don't work out, then they want to blame temples and teachers and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And it'd be like, no, that person is, you know, more than likely they, you know, they wasn't ready when the test arrived, because the test gonna come.
It's gonna come. That's what
You know
it is.
what I'm saying?
Indeed. Now, on a more respectable note, what would you say, right? Because it's some people who've been, quote unquote, over criminalized, meaning getting a 9 to 5 for them is not an option, right? But they have creative skills and abilities. They might be able to write, but instead of trying to write your paperwork, they'll write a book, right? They might be nice with the art, but they might, you know, send you some symbols to make clothes or whatever. What's the distinguishment? Would you say it's a distinguishment between the dirty Moors who are like, yo, I'm gonna make a living off of selling paperwork to you, or this is what I do, this is my skill, this is my craft, and I should be able to make a living off of it if I got support of the community, meaning if you make clothes, right, or if I make clothes, I should be able to get them from my brother or sister. If my sister makes soaps, we should be able to support that,
my
right?
thing is like this. When you pull out of the matrix, your first instinct, whether you want to admit it or not, is, yo, how am I going to survive?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How am I going to float? How am I going to, you know, stand firm? And especially if you came from something, if you used to having some debt notes in your pocket, if you used to, you know what I'm saying, stepping out a particular way, you know, the continuity of that is important, because you don't want to transition and be looked at by your peer groups as crazy. Like, yo, that information sound crazy and you look crazy. I ain't fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? So people want to still keep up with the shits. And they have a hustler mentality. I'm not saying that a hustler mentality is wrong per se, but we were taught to pick up whatever you have around you, to sell that shit, turn it into a hustle.
I didn't want any money. I didn't want it then or now, because it's not important in your life. It was never important in our lives. The Maya shows that. The Maya built pyramids. The Maya lived for millions of years in the jungles of Central America. No money.
So some of our brothers and sisters have become very clever in regards to how to use paperwork.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Which they can see the power in.
Yeah.
And anything, again, in our community that we value as power, you know, we're taught about how to cut it and sell it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we just haven't been taught differently.
I didn't want any money. I didn't want it then or now, because it's not important in your life. It was never important in our lives. The Maya shows that. The Maya built pyramids. The Maya lived for millions of years in the jungles of Central America. No money.
Yeah.
We don't have a high, like nothing is sacred. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't have a high regard.
Gotcha.
All right. Cost versus value is an ideology that we haven't been taught in our community.
Word.
It's the reason why we're suffering as people.
Indeed.
You know.
Indeed.
So, you know what I mean? They can put a price on something, which is the cost, but what is the value of it?
What is the value of it? Right.
You know what I mean?
Understood.
And one outweighs the other, and they're canceling each other. And it's because we're not seeing into things etherically, right? Beyond, you know, the physical facade of a thing, and we really don't see the effects.
Right.
We don't really see the effects. Our shit is mundane. Okay, we're dealing with so much profane aspects of how we're engaging with one another. You know what I mean? Irrespective of, you know, like I said, we could read this information and study it, but no one is really behaving like there's a spirit realm. Like you're being, there's witnesses taking notes. Which at every move, like they're still gaming as if. They're still gaming as if they're not being, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like this shit is not being observed from different planes.
Right,
like there's not being a ledger being kept.
Yeah.
So they're fooling themselves. But for some reason in this community, we have allowed foolery to go on for so long, unchecked.
Right.
Unmitigated, that it's out of control.
It's crazy,
you know? So
crazy.
I liken it, an analogy that I use is that people are changing clothes without taking showers.
Word.
That's what's going on.
Still dirty.
They're changing clothes without taking showers.
Absolutely.
So you get a lot of the hustler mindset that is, because there's an honest hustle, and then there's a dirty hustle.
Absolutely.
You feel me? So we just getting the dirty hustle.
Right.
Dirty hustle.
So we got to be more creative, innovative, and see the value, because it's a reason why they love the artwork on the wall and Kemet and things like that.
And you
know
gotta,
what I mean?
I'm about to say a word that might be controversial.
Yeah.
You have to step out on faith.
I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
Go ahead,
Okay?
bro.
You gotta step out on faith. You gotta look. I know my thing is gonna hit. I know, my thing gonna connect with the people because I'm just that nice. I'm just that good of an artisan. You know what I'm saying? I had to step out on faith.
Right.
I had to be like, yo, I don't want to do this Sony Epic thing no more. After Mike died, like I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I want to get into the streets. How am I gonna support myself?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Even if I participated, like I said, hands-on, building a community, this shit is not loyal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still scattered. People are still fickle. In 09, it wasn't an explosive community like that. It was still formulating. But I trusted myself enough to be like, look, I know I got a product that's going to work, and it's going to transcend the quote-unquote community per se. I got something that I feel that the world can appreciate, and that's where I create from. I'm like, yo, I got potential clients that are out there in the world, not just in a small community.
Right.
So I took my leap of faith and I started creating product. Stuff that I had always had on my mind. Stuff that I always told myself, yo, if the opportunity presents itself, this is what I want to do as a business. I want to create. And I want to create this for this reason. And this is how I can add on to my mother and Sadie's legacy with the Seymours.
Right.
This is how I can express myself artistically with the clothes.
Yeah.
This is what I can do in observance of, the mineral kingdom and the jewelry, and make the jewelry line. And, all this stuff was things that came to me somewhat naturally.
Right.
And I expounded on it. Law 44. This was based on observations, patterns. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And me just seeing a need to put this in its proper context.
Absolutely.
For times to come.
Absolutely.
I'm not doing this for people that are here right now because they're in it. They can't see it.
Right. That's what's going back to what we said. It's a reason why you're not Eric Gardner. That wasn't your situation. Likewise, I feel the same way too. Going through that like, yo, that could have been. You know what I mean?
Him of his 44.
Right.
43. You saw the officer had the D back.
I didn't do nothing. What did I do?
Then before that.
What am I ID on me? Take you left for what? I didn't sell anything. I did nothing. We sitting here the whole time. None of our business.
44 on him. So the 44 officer robbed him of his 44th birthday.
And then when we went to court, my thing is the system. I always thought that if you kill a cop, you go to jail. If a cop kills somebody, he's supposed to go to jail. That's my thing. It wasn't like that. We went through a system.
My name is Gwen Carr. I am the mother of Eric Gardner, who was killed by the police in Staten Island on July 17, 2014. My son was choked to death by a police officer, and while he was laying on the ground dying, 5 other police officers pounced on him. They ultimately took his life. Even though there's video evidence, full footage to prove all of this, and yet there was no indictment.
Word, that's crazy, yo. You've been going in on that
And
44.
It was for Newports.
Right.
And a few days after that, Larimar, which is the company that owns Newports, they sold that company for $44 million.
Wow.
It might have been 44.
Word, something crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably some
44s.
billies. Yeah, but you know what? Class is about to let out.
Yeah.
Pill, Alf, I highly appreciate you for pressing the lens on Mantis views29, bro, and making this happen. You know, we're going to step over here. I'm going to grab some apparel normal, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Hopefully Red over there, I can get some Kings County, you know what I mean? Hold up, but before you go, heard you went hammer time on the blood monologues. Let the people know, like, how they going to be able to review that, bro? Like, what's really good? Is it going to be on DVD? If so, how can they get it? Or
We did it on Halloween, which was 14 days before the super duper blood moon is going to come in on our birthday on the 14th of
Okay,
November.
oh yeah, happy born day to y'all early too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But we shot it with a webcam, so I wanted to do it over. It was a 6-hour lecture when I did it at Nicholas.
Gotcha.
It's really an 8-hour one, so I'm gonna break it up into 4 parts.
Got you.
But it will be coming soon. I'll put this election in perspective because you now have your 44th president. It's not the 45th.
Okay.
All right. Grover Cleveland sat in for the 22nd and the 24th presidency. All right. So he sat in for 2 separate terms. So Obama was the 43rd. This is your 44th president. What does it all mean? We're gonna explain that. We're gonna get into it. You know what I mean? We're gonna get deep into it, as well as everything else, because it's the theorem of everything. So everything fits into that box.
That's what's really good. That's what's really good.
It's a treatise for these modern days. You know what I'm saying? It's
No
something
doubt.
that we all really need to put in perspective the language that we really need to speak, you know, which is mathematics, as our
Absolutely.
ancestors and the ancients have always told us.
Word.
All right?
Word. Peace and love, Blue. Thank you again, man.
Peace, God.
Thanks for dropping that. All right.
Let me hit them with a
Okay.
law44.com. Ocean14corp.com.
Yes.
MyPowerPieces.com. SoulGoldBiz, SOLEGOLD, BIZ.com. Paranormal.com. I feel like I'm leaving something out. But you know, of course we got the KTL. Whole lot of stuff coming with KTL. We got the album about to drop in a few days.
Oh yeah.
Websites, apps, all kind of stuff. We got a new platform coming to, you know, interact with our family virtually.
Okay, that's what's really
so
good.
So stay tuned. We're going to continue innovating technology. Facts Initiative is in the building.
Genius.
You know, even more so now than ever.
Word.
People been hitting my phone up all day about what we gonna do now.
Right,
We're gonna stay on course. We're gonna
Absolutely.
stop getting motherfucking fickle. All right.
Yeah.
And we're gonna pound the motherfucking pavement. All right. Pardon the Moorish Latin. But we that passionate about the fact that we got facts. Initiative for our solutions.
Right.
Peace.
Peace. Slam. All right. So I know that's what you was saying. Yeah, gotta give them that because I know they was like,